Welcome to Short Coverlet. I'm Adrian Fort.
And I'm Dalton Gentry.
And we're here with a weekly book news installment. We've got 3 stories from the world of literature. Dalton?
These are stories December 16th, 2016, the world of literature as we see it today.
Yes.
Are you ready for your first story?
Yes.
Okay. Bob Dylan. Bob watches over. He has sent a letter of acceptance to the Nobel Prize ceremony and accepted the Nobel Prize in Literature. The wait is over. How do you feel?
He did not show up.
He did not show up.
He sent his regards.
He sent his kind-worded regards. And I believe someone else actually performed one of his songs live for him.
I don't care.
Yeah.
This has cheapened the... I have a rant video on the channel about Bob Dylan winning
I'll try to link that above.
The Nobel Prize in Literature. This has cheapened the prize to such an extent that it is laughable.
Okay.
What you're doing is you tried to make a bang with Bob, right?
Okay.
Make a bang with Bobby. And it backfired because he didn't even show up to accept your award.
So who's at fault here? Do we fault Bob Dylan or do we fault the Nobel Prize Committee?
Well, you fault the Nobel Prize Committee for honoring Bob Dylan. You fault Bob Dylan for actually being Bob Dylan.
Okay, here's my thing with Bob Dylan. There's a time... There's a time to be edgy and aloft and an artist.
And to be better than something.
And there's a time to say, well, holy shit, I just won the Nobel Prize in Literature. Whose ass do I need to kiss?
Yes.
Bob, you pretentious motherfucker.
Yeah.
Who does not show up for that?
Who didn't see this coming? Who didn't see this coming?
But you are right. Who gives Bob Dylan this prize? Of all the potential candidates, of all the people who have wrote great things for literature, Bob Dylan?
Yeah.
Really?
They did this to themselves.
They did this to themselves. So that flopped gloriously, and Bob has sent a letter of acceptance. Therefore, Bob Dylan is granted the Nobel Prize in Literature. It's over in Bob Watch.
Yeah, I don't understand why this happened.
It sucks. It does.
This has victimized, to an extent, the entire world of literature.
Yep.
Of published literature.
Yep.
Right?
Everybody who's ever written anything, well, you're not as good as Bob Dylan.
Not only that, but, you know, all you gotta do is write a song and get it popular, and you know what I mean? It's not... Why not make a Nobel Prize in music?
And you don't even have to sing the lyrics, you just have to mumble them. Anyway, next article for you here. This is from Total Croatia News. Croatia has become the world's first free reading zone. Now, do you know what that means?
No.
Let me break that down for you. Within the borders of the country of Croatia, you can essentially download an app. Now, this is accessible in the country, where you are granted access to, I think 100,000, thousands of pieces of literature, thousands of works of literature from all around the world, which are considered great works of literature, at your fingertips, just for being in Croatia. It's their way of promoting literature. Thoughts?
Okay, first off, many things have gone past the point of ownership in the world of literature, and the point of ownership, what is it called? Public domain.
Mm-hmm.
The point of public domain changes from society to society.
Yes.
Now, the fact that they're making a point to publicize the fact that there's 100,000 or whatever works of literature that are immediately available to people suggests to me that these are not works that are normally in most places public domain. But because it exists and you're in Croatia, we'll go ahead and we'll give you the latest XYZ. So, Croatia is LimeWire.
Okay. Now,
Is that what I'm understanding here?
My understanding, the way this is working is, hey, I can go to the public library and pick up any book I want. Croatia is saying, well, now we're going to put the public library in your hand.
But that already exists. There's public domain websites all over the internet.
Okay, but I can get books that are not in the public domain at the library.
You can also rent them on your... You can rent books on your... What are they called? Kindles?
Kindles?
Yes.
Yes. Now they're just available for you. You don't have to go to the library anymore. And we live in a state which attempted to take the budget for libraries. Did you ever hear about this? Our state, good old Missouri, Jay Nixon tried to take the funding for libraries, which was X million dollars, and cut it down to like $200,000. The reason, therefore, because, it doesn't take much to run a library. We've got other things to fund. And librarians came out and said, well, this is going to basically be able to keep the lights on at the big libraries.
Yeah.
All your small-town public libraries are done. Never passed, thankfully, because Missouri still has a sliver of common sense.
The big business of education, right?
Yes, but now there is a country that is saying that education is an important thing. Education should be available to everyone. I think it's a good move. I think it's a great move.
Yeah, it's a great move, so long as people are not losing their intellectual properties.
Okay.
Like in the United States, what happens is someone dies and they are dead for 100 years. All of the stuff they wrote becomes public domain. If this is a breach on that type of etiquette, I am not for it.
Okay. Now, a lot of the book world has been kind of snuffed this week, because we are nearing the end of the year, which means we are getting the flood of the top 10 list.
Yes.
Top 10 books of 2017 by this person, by that person. But we're going to take one. We're going to do Bill Gates' top 10 here. We got a couple of snippets here. Yeah. The String Theory by David Foster Wallace. Shoe Dog by Phil Knight. The Myth of the Strong Leader by Archie Brown. The Gene in Intimate History by Siddhartha Mukherjee. Okay. I probably butchered that. And The Grid by Gretchen Bakke. Bakke.
Okay.
Also probably butchered that. So this is what Bill Gates is saying was his top 10 books for the year of 2016. Bill Gates, an avid reader, easily argued one of the most successful businessmen in history. Yeah. This is what he's reading. A lot of books on energy, grid-style energy.
Yeah.
And tennis.
Yeah, you would imagine, you would expect to see something like Shoe Dog and the Myth of the Strong Leader on Bill Gates' reading list.
Yes.
String Theory by David Foster Wallace, maybe not. And I was not familiar with what String Theory by David Foster Wallace was. It is a collection of his essays on the sport of tennis.
Okay.
So if you're going to read any David Foster Wallace, I guess...
That's not the one we would have thought it would have been. Not a lot of fiction on this list, though, which is disheartening.
But it sort of speaks to who Bill Gates is, right?
Very true, very true. We don't do a lot of nonfiction on this channel, but nonfiction does have its place.
I will officially sanction nonfiction.
Nonfiction, you're all right. But you do read some nonfiction here and there. I notice doing some book shopping with you, a lot of health and nutrition books, a lot of business and financial books. These are things that tickle Adrian's interests.
Biographies?
Biographies, a sea of biographies.
Atheist interests?
Atheist interests. But these are just the things I've seen recently. Excuse me. But I don't know. I really would have liked to have seen a little bit more literature from Bill.
Yeah, it would have been nice to see him promoting something, even if he didn't read it. I don't care. Maybe The Sellout. Or maybe he read the collection of Bob Dylan poems. I don't know.
Yes,
but
yes.
it would have been nice. But that seems to be the way the world of books is trending, doesn't it? Away from literature.
Yeah.
Because we're not training people to write literature. We're not training people to read literature. That's one of the things we very recently did a review of The Sun Also Rises, right? Mm-hmm. People around the time when The Sun Also Rises came out were trained to read it.
Yes.
People were able to see and understand the literature underneath. Now, we don't get that in school, right?
Correct.
We get, what is this book about? Write a book report.
Yep. Summarize the book.
Yeah, summarize the book.
That's why people say literature is dying, and it's a scary thing.
Yeah,
it really is. So if you like this kind of thing, make sure you hit the subscribe button down below. We will be doing book news every Friday, a glimpse into the world of literature, and make sure you share this video as well. Get a little bit of the literary world out to others. Be sure to follow us on Twitter at StripCover and on Facebook at StripCoverLit. And if you would like to help us make more videos, there is a link to our Patreon in the description below.
And now I know